Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is ramping up pressure on the United States as the war with Russia rages on. In a bold statement, Zelenskyy has urged President Joe Biden to allow Ukraine to strike inside Russia using US-supplied long-range weapons. This plea comes ahead of Zelenskyy's critical visit to the United States, where he aims to rally more support for Ukraine's fight against Russian forces. Zelenskyy's trip will include a visit to a Pennsylvania ammunition plant, a speech at the United Nations General Assembly, and high-stakes talks with President Biden in Washington. His goal? To secure a new wave of military aid and lay out a victory plan to end the war. Zelenskyy has said that the end of the war depends not just on Ukrainian resilience, but on the resolve of its Western allies to provide more weaponry and crucially the permission to use them for strikes deep inside Russian territory. Kyiv argues that such attacks are necessary to stop Russian air assaults on Ukraine's critical infrastructure, especially its energy grid. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that if Ukraine is allowed to use Western-supplied long-range weapons to strike Russia, it would mean war with NATO and the United States. Tensions are escalating, with Moscow already retaliating by bombing civilian targets in Ukraine. In Kharkiv, Russian forces targeted a multi-story apartment building on Saturday, injuring 12 civilians and prompting urgent evacuations. In Kryvyi Rih, Zelenskyy's hometown, a 12-year-old boy and 2 elderly women were killed by Russian missile strikes in a horrifying middle-of-the-night attack. Ukraine, however, has also hit back, targeting Russian military installations inside Russian territory. Ukrainian forces claim to have destroyed over 2,000 tons of weaponry, including missiles reportedly supplied by North Korea, in strikes on Russian depots in Tikhoretsk and Oktyabrski. The attacks in Russia's western Tver region, 500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, led to the temporary closure of highways and rail stations. While unverified footage shows massive explosions lighting up the sky, Russian authorities have been tight-lipped about the full extent of the damage. With the war far from over, and as winter approaches, Zelenskyy has warned of further strikes from Russia on Ukrainian nuclear facilities. Kyiv is urging its allies and the UN to deploy permanent monitoring teams to prevent a catastrophic escalation. The stakes have never been higher as both Ukraine and Russia brace for a brutal winter of war. Stay with us for more updates on this critical situation, and don't forget to like and subscribe for ongoing coverage of the war between Ukraine and Russia.